Everybody, it's Double B Billy Boudreaux along with Chris Rogers from Rockin' Waves 11294, and we're here with the announcements of the first two inductees in the Hall of Fame and our reactions to it. The first inductee that was announced tonight on Monday Night Raw was Edge, and needless to say, it's been long. He has earned his spot.
Definitely.
But Chris, I still feel to this day that Adam Copeland, aka Edge, has had so much left to give to the wrestling industry, the wrestling business, and it was just robbed from him. It was taken from him.
Yeah, when that injury happened, it was very sad because I agree with you. He still had so much left in him that you could tell it was forced to retire. He didn't want to, and I think that's one. Even though he says he doesn't have any regrets, I do believe, somewhere deep inside, he is regretting a little listening to the doctors, but, it's for his own well-being, I guess.
Yeah, because, if he doesn't listen to the doctors, doesn't have a chance with the neck injury that he has, that could end up in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. And, he's made the right call, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He made the right call, for his health and for his own safety for him to retire. I know he wasn't ready to go. We weren't ready to let him go. But
at least he still makes some appearances. He
made an appearance at SummerSlam, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did.
So
and I have a feeling that and me and a buddy of mine that I was watching Raw with tonight, we were waiting to hear who's going to induct him, and we already know who it's going to be.
Christian.
Exactly. And someone said, "What if it's Rey Mysterio or Big Show?" I'm like, if it's that case, I'll quit watching WWE.
Why would Rey Mysterio or the Big Show induct Edge? Well, I understand. I understand. The Big Show. He was highly involved in a storyline with Edge over the WWE title. And
someone even said John Cena.
Some people would say that John Cena, his feud with John Cena was one of the best feuds of his career.
Yeah.
And the way they put it.
And I agree with that. And so either Christian or Cena inducting him would make sense.
It definitely would. It definitely would. And like I say, Edge has earned his spot, even though his career was very short. Let's look back at some of the accomplishments he's had. He's a multiple-time tag team champion. He was a former European champion. He's a King of the Ring, an Intercontinental champion, a World Heavyweight champion, and
he won the Money in the Bank.
He won the first ever Money in the Bank.
Yeah, first ever.
First ever Money in the Bank. And, he's a multiple-time World Heavyweight champion, multiple-time WWE champion.
He was a 7-time World Heavyweight champion and 4-time WWE champion, 5-time WWE Intercontinental champion, 12-time World Tag Team champion, and believe it or not, one of those times was with Hulk Hogan.
I remember that.
And
they beat Billy and Chuck.
Yeah, and he won the Tag Team Championship twice. Money in the Bank twice, not consecutively.
No.
He won multiple Slammies. One for the Oh Snap Meltdown of the Year, which was epic.
Wasn't it at the laptop?
Yeah, he destroyed the anonymous general manager of Raw.
Yeah.
Because he was arguing with the computer. So it was basically like the relationship between him and Vicky Guerrero.
And we can't forget a former King of the Ring winner.
Yeah.
So even though he had a very short career, he stacked an amazing list of achievements in the WWE. So he has earned his spot in the WWE Hall of Fame. The other announcement, the second inductee, Well, we say it like that, but you know, when I hold up the number 2 sign, Chris, for some reason my hand is cramping, and now it's like this, the number 4. Diamonds are forever, and so are the horsemen. Yes, the entity, the group, the 4 horsemen, is being inducted into the Hall of Fame this year.
Which is long overdue. I mean, very long overdue.
And
Arn Anderson finally getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. And Ric Flair,
who's already in. But the way they're doing it, like I said, it's the group, the 4 horsemen. And the way they announced it tonight, the way they showed it is it was Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Barry Windham, Ric Flair, woo, Nature Boy, styling and profiling, and James J. Dillon. Now,
and last time I checked, doesn't that make 5?
He's the manager.
Still.
He's the manager. They don't really count. You know, if he's the manager of... well, the way they played it back in the day with the NWA, they called him the executive director of the 4 Horsemen, is the way they put it. And that's the way they used him. And, you know, he was kind of like Jim Cornette back in the day. I mean, he didn't wear the outlandish, ugly suits that we're used to seeing Jim Cornette wearing back in the day, but he was one of those managers that you love to hate. You know, and you just love to see him get beat up. And, you know, James J. Dillon did that better than no one. Back in the day, there was no one better than him, you know, and, you know, he was a perfect fit for the executive director spot of the 4 Horsemen. Couple of things I want to note about this one. It's a shame they can't do the original 4 Horsemen. And the original 4 Horsemen is a Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Ole Anderson, and Tully Blanchard. But if I am not mistaken, I believe Ole Anderson might have passed away.
Ole Anderson? No, he's still around.
He is?
Yeah, he's 69. He retired in 1990. He has been nursing broken ribs due to a fall he suffered.
Oh.
As well as a broken arm, but that was back in February last year. But he is suffering from multiple sclerosis and has gotten worse with decreased mobility and memory loss.
That could be the reason why we're probably not going to see him.
Well, also, he's been vocal about his personal issues with Vince McMahon. Michael Hayes, Paul Heyman, Eric Bischoff, Tully Blanchard, Bruiser Brody, and Lex Luger. So that's probably why we're not going to see him, because Lex Luger was also, and Tully Blanchard was also a 4 Horseman. One of the Tully Blanchard being one of the original.
Yeah, and one of the things that brought that group together, what made it over, is the fact at one point they were all champions. Ole and Arn were the tag team champions. Tully Blanchard was the NWA television champion, a title we rarely see used correctly on TV in wrestling today, which is a shame in my opinion. And Ric Flair was the world heavyweight champion, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. And you know, and that's the kind of thing that brought them together. And not many people know this, you know, if you never followed the 4 Horsemen's career like I have. But when they first brought this group together, they had no idea what they were going to be called. You know, they didn't have any kind of a group name. It wasn't until Arn Anderson, in one promo they were cutting, referencing the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And then after the promo was over, Jim Crockett, who was one of the mainstays, the big promoters of the NWA back then, he goes on to him and said, "That's it. That's who you're going to be called. That's who you are. The 4 Horsemen." And that name has stuck, and the 4 Horsemen has been synonymous as being one of the most elite factions, one of the first ever elite factions of professional wrestling. And there will never be another group like the 4 Horsemen. People can imitate it, but it will never bring that same kind of flavor, that same kind of style of entertainment, that same I guess we'll call it a je ne sais quoi thing in professional wrestling. There will never be another Four Horsemen elite faction. And a lot of people say, you know, some of the other factions like the NWO, D-Generation X, the Nation, the DOA, a lot of the people say, you know, they based those factions on the Four Horsemen. And Chris, let me say this, if it hadn't been for the Four Horsemen, elite faction groups in professional wrestling would never have existed.
I agree. And they've even said themselves, I think it was Shawn Michaels said himself that he got any inspiration for DX from the Four Horsemen. I don't know if that's true. I may be getting it confused with something else I saw. But at this point, I'm so tired, I don't give a shit.
Okay. So with that being said, it brings us to the close of this video. Again, we want to hear from you guys out there, your thoughts on the first two inductees into this year's WWE class of 2012 Hall of Fame. One being Edge, the other being the Four Horsemen. Leave your comments in the comment section below or in the video response. So for Chris Rogers from Rockin' Waves 11294, I'm Double B Billy Boudreaux saying, diamonds are forever, and so are the horsemen.